When the call came into the 911 center, the voice on the other end was tiny, trembling. The little girl wasn't asking for help, she was asking for a pizza. At first, the dispatcher thought it was a prank, but something in the child's voice made her keep listening. When police arrived at the silent house, they found the front door hanging open, swaying in the night breeze. Inside, there was no child waiting for dinner. Just an empty home and evidence of a struggle that would launch a desperate race against time. What happened to 5-year-old Lucy in those missing hours? And how did a simple request for pepperoni become the key to saving her life? Let's go back to where it started. Chris looked at his wife, Marcy, coming down the stairs and smiled. "You look amazing," he said, and he meant it. It had been over a year since their last real date night. Between Lucy's kindergarten schedule, work deadlines, and the beautiful chaos of raising a 5-year-old, time alone had become a luxury. Before they left, Chris knelt down to Lucy's level. "Remember what we talked about, sweetheart?" Lucy nodded seriously. "If I'm ever scared and can't talk, I call 911 and ask for pizza. That's my brave girl." He kissed her forehead. It was a game they had practiced, a code word they hoped she'd never need to use. In their minds, it was just good, parenting preparing for an emergency that would never come. They had left Lucy in the hands of Adriana, a 22-year-old nursing student the family adored. Adriana wasn't just a sitter, she was a protector. Lucy loved her like an older sister. As Chris and Marcy pulled out of the driveway, they felt that rare, heavy relief of parents finally getting a moment of peace. They had no idea they were driving away from the last moment of safety their family would know for a long time. Inside the house, the night was cozy. Popcorn, cartoons, and giggles filled the living room. But as the movie credits rolled, the atmosphere shifted. Bedtime. Lucy pleaded for 5 more minutes, but Adriana, gentle but firm, guided her upstairs to brush her teeth. That's when it happened. Ding-dong. The doorbell cut through the quiet. It was late, nearly 9 o'clock. Too late for visitors. Adriana frowned, a flicker of unease crossing her face. "Keep brushing, Lucy," she said softly. "I'll be right back." Lucy nodded, clutching her toothbrush. She listened to Adriana's footsteps fade down the stairs. She heard the lock click. The door creak open. A man's voice, low and unfamiliar. Then a thud, and silence. Lucy waited. 1 minute. 2. "Adriana?" she called out. The house didn't answer back. Lucy's heart pounded. She crept to the top of the stairs and peered down into the darkness. The front door was open. Adriana was gone. And somewhere below, she heard footsteps that weren't Adriana's. Heavy. Slow. Searching. She backed away from the stairs, her small hands shaking. She remembered what her daddy taught her. The phone in the hallway. The special code. She lifted the receiver and dialed 911. Dispatcher Sarah Chen picked up on the second ring. 911, what is your emergency? A tiny whisper came through. "I want to order a pizza. Please." Sarah paused. Her first instinct was to dismiss it, but something stopped her. The tremor in the voice, the deliberate quiet. This wasn't a giggling child playing on the phone. This was fear. "Okay, sweetie," Sarah said slowly, playing along. "What kind of pizza do you want?" "Pepperoni," Lucy breathed. "Please come fast." Sarah's training flooded back. She'd heard of this before code words. Hidden pleas for help. She checked the caller ID. A residential address. She kept her voice calm. "Is someone there with you that you don't want to hear you?" "Yes." "Are you hiding?" "Yes." "Stay exactly where you are. Help is coming right now." The line went dead. Lucy had hung up, her small hands trembling as footsteps creaked on the stairs below. Sarah didn't hesitate. She dispatched a unit immediately. Possible child abduction in progress. Code word used. Suspect may still be on premises. Hurry. Officer Daniel Reyes was the first on the scene. His headlights cut through the darkness as he pulled up to the house. The front door was wide open, swaying slightly in the October breeze. The porch light was on, but the house beyond was shadow. "Police!" Daniel shouted, stepping inside. "Anyone here?" Silence. He moved room to room, weapon drawn. The living room showed signs of a struggle, a lamp knocked over. popcorn scattered across the carpet. The kitchen was untouched. He took the stairs 2 at a time and reached the bathroom. A toothbrush sat on the edge of the sink, still wet with paste. But Lucy was gone. "Clear upstairs," he yelled to his partner. "She's not here." His partner, Officer Vega, was outside, flashlight sweeping the dark yard. The beam landed on the bushes near the side gate. "Daniel! Over here!" Lying in the dirt, barely conscious, was Adriana. A gash on the back of her head glistened under the flashlight. As the paramedics rushed to stabilize her, she grabbed Officer Daniel's sleeve with surprising strength. Her eyes were unfocused, her voice a rasp. "Gray van. He put her in a gray van. I tried to stop him." She lost consciousness before she could say more. At a quiet Italian restaurant across town, Marcy's phone buzzed. Unknown number. When she heard Officer Daniel's voice, something inside her cracked. The fork slipped from her fingers and hit the plate with a sharp clink. That sound small and ordinary would mark the dividing line in her memory. Everything before it belonged to a different life. Chris and Marcy raced home, but there was no home to return to, only a crime scene wrapped in yellow tape and neighbors standing in clusters whispering. The investigation went into overdrive. Every minute Lucy was missing, the odds of finding her alive dropped. Detectives pulled doorbell camera footage from 6 neighboring houses. Officers swept the yard with flashlights, marking evidence, and then a break. A single muddy boot print near the back gate. Size 12. It didn't match anyone in the family, the paramedics, or the officers on scene. At the same time, forensic technicians lifted a partial fingerprint from the doorframe. They ran it through the database. Ping. A match. Marcus Delroy, age 41. A former handyman who had done contract work in the neighborhood 2 years prior. He had outstanding warrants for fraud and a history of gambling debts that had spiraled out of control. He knew the layout of these houses. He knew which families had money. And now, police knew exactly who they were looking for. Detective Miller led the investigation. Within 90 minutes of Lucy's disappearance, they had pinpointed a location of foreclosed property on the edge of town, last registered to Marcus's estranged brother. SWAT assembled in the darkness half a block away. No sirens, no lights. This wasn't a negotiation. It was a rescue. This aroused you. They surrounded the dilapidated house. Shadows moved behind a boarded window. The signal was given. Flashbang. Crash. Go. 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 The team flooded the hallway. They cleared the living room in 3 seconds. The kitchen in 2. Officer Daniel kicked open the door to a small back bedroom. The air was cold, stale. In the corner, huddled beneath a stained blanket, was a small figure. Lucy looked up, eyes wide and wet. "I want my mommy," she whispered. Daniel lowered his weapon, dropped to his knees, and pulled off his jacket to wrap around her. "It's okay, sweetheart," he said, his voice breaking. "We're taking you home." Marcus Delroy was found hiding in the basement. He didn't resist. The scene at the precinct was chaos, flashing cameras, shouted questions, strobing blue lights. But Chris and Marcy saw none of it. They saw only Daniel walking through the doors with their daughter in his arms. Marcy collapsed before she reached them. Chris caught her, and together they stumbled forward and pulled Lucy into an embrace so tight it seemed like they were trying to merge into a single being. They didn't just hold her. They anchored themselves to her. In the months that followed, the Graysons didn't simply return to normal. There is no returning from something like this. Instead, they rebuilt carefully, deliberately. They attended family counseling. They installed a security system. They held Lucy a little tighter at bedtime and lingered a little longer at every goodbye. Adriana made a full recovery. She testified at the trial, her voice steady and unflinching. Marcus Delroy was convicted of kidnapping, aggravated assault, and burglary. The judge handed down a sentence of 35 years to life. His gambling debts and desperation had cost him everything. Lucy is 9 years old now. She doesn't remember much about that night, just fragments, flashes, feelings. But she knows one thing. When she was scared and alone, she remembered what her parents taught her, and someone listened. This story is a reminder of how quickly life can fracture, but it's also a testament to the quiet heroes who hold the pieces together. A babysitter who put herself between danger and a child. A dispatcher who trusted her instincts when a little girl whispered about pizza. officers who ran toward the darkness instead of away from it. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. You never know who might be reminded that even in the worst moments, there are people ready to help. Look out for each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.